this is Cardcore Gamer back for a review of a game, and this is courtesy of Warm Acre Games, who have sent me the subject of today's video. There is one evil genius, 3 secret agents, and 60 minutes to save the world. It's time to spy or die trying. In this game, up to 3 agents from the Peace Enforcing Nations, or PEN, go up against the Secret World Order base, or SWORD. That's the sort of thing we're dealing with here. It's full-on classic, good old-fashioned James Bond, Connery/Moore era stuff. It's a very interesting game in that it does the stealth genre without using hidden movement in the style of Scotland Yard or Fury of Dracula or that sort of thing. All the information in the game is pretty much open all the time. It's a several players versus 1 situation. You have up to 3 agents, which can be controlled by up to 3 players, versus 1 person playing the boss, in this case Claymore, the sort of Blofeld-esque villain, and an entire base with guards and scientists and technicians, all trying to do things to frustrate your plans. You start off as the spies, in a sort of hidden status, and you may, through gameplay, be revealed by getting too close to the security cameras or the guards spotting you, and the guards are hilariously dumb at not seeing you, and they're like right there looking you in the face, in true sort of jump-suited goon fashion. But while you're hidden, you're able to sneak around and do things in a much kind of more, what's the word? A much more effective manner, I suppose. Once you're revealed, well, the gloves are off. You get to run around shooting people as much as you like, but it doesn't make your mission easier. And your mission is to get in, find information, find secrets hidden around the base, and get out. Now, the secrets are sort of a set collection mechanic. You want to not just be going and grabbing them, you've got to grab them and put them together in a combination that when you get out, you sort of cash them in for points. So you might be going for 3 of the same colour or 3 of the same nation, or that sort of thing. You can score points to get a victory or a sort of supreme victory or a draw. And the game, it's a funny one because it's on the surface at first blush you're looking at very much an Ameritrash style game. There's lots of dice rolling. You're trying to get a 4, 5, or 6, trying to get a 6. Mostly that is your core mechanic, which for a lot of people could be an enormous turn-off, because that's actually wrong. It is quite American style, but this game's got more to it than it first seems to have. There's definitely a depth here, and that comes from its history. Spy or Die Trying started off as a game called Hour of Glory, where you had soldiers infiltrating a Nazi bunker to steal secrets. And over the course of about a decade, this game has been refined and polished and sharpened up and play-tested to death, then rethemed and brought out as Spy or Die Trying. Now, the spy genre isn't enormously well tapped. It's quite a nice, refreshing change. Most spy games tend to be card games like the Resistance or the recent Spyfall. This, as a board game, does things in a very interesting manner. So, as you're sneaking around, the core mechanic is you have 60 minutes, not real time, but 60 action points, in effect, to spend for all of the spies for the whole game. As you're sneaking around, say you want to open a door, you can roll a die and try and get 4, 5, or 6. If you fail, tough. You've got 2 actions, you get 2 cracks at it, or you can just do something else. Or, if you're hidden, you can succeed automatically at opening the door, and then roll a couple of dice, and for each failure on those dice, you lose minutes. So, you've always got the option of take a chance at it, see what you do, but it may be a slow process, or guarantee a success, but probably lose some time. And there are things that really lose you time. If you get discovered, you can hide yourself, but that's 4 minutes, potentially. If you get incapacitated, that can be 6 minutes. You realise that at the start you're quite blasé. 60, there's a lot of those, but you start sort of, oh yeah, I'll just pass this check, I'll do this, I'll do that. But as the clock starts to wind down, and you realise that actually we've got to do this job and get out, it suddenly puts the thumbscrews on you. It's an interesting balancing mechanic, where you're constantly trying to weigh up the value of getting it done versus potentially hastening the end of the game. Um, Now you've got a couple of special skills. You've got a nice theme to the three different spies. Each one has three skills, and you pick one, or you can have a handicap and sort of pick more than one skill. And they're really interesting ones. You have the sort of the master sort of secret agent who's able to be a master of disguise. You've got the one who's an assassin, and you've got the one who used to be a thief. All like nice archetypes that you're sort of used to encountering. You also get some kit to help you, and some of these skills are really fun. There's one that allows you to knock out a guard and dress up as them, which is just, why would you not want to do that? It's wonderful. Um, Now, the only thing I would say is, as the boss, as the sort of the villain of the piece, you have got plenty to be doing and plenty to be getting on with, and several different angles of attack of how to win. But it does feel a little bit like you don't have enough villainous stuff to do. Your villain is basically just one of your goons, but with a few extra skills. It kind of doesn't feel like there's quite enough flavour for the villain to be able to spring traps and bring out the surprises. There's no big set piece. Although there are expansions which bring in what you would expect, things like a casino and shark tanks and that cool stuff. But in the base game, it just seems to be like it's like they've polished the mechanisms. The design of the game has been polished so far that it's a very tight, very well thought out, and very well put together game. But it's almost like they've accidentally polished off some of the rough edges that could have given the theme a bit more chance to shine. And that's not to say it's not thematic. I mean, that you can do all of the things you would want to do as a spy. You get to break into the different rooms. You can break into the guard room and knock out the guy at the cameras. You can destroy the generator, or disable the generator rather, which shuts down the science lab. As the boss, you can actually get your scientists to work on a doomsday weapon, which knocks 10 minutes for every line of it completed off the time. It's not like there's no theme, it's all there. The game is incredibly complex in the amount of stuff you can do. For example, I mean, this is something I got wrong the first time I played, but when you're sneaking up on a guard, if they're posted outside a door, they become a sentry, and you have to, inch up to them slowly, and again, you can lose time each time you move, but you can whack them on the head and knock them out quick. And in a very sort of Metal Gear kind of video game stealth way, if you knock people out, you leave bodies, you better hide the body, but that takes time, but if you don't, they can be discovered and the alarm level goes up. And that's another nice mechanic. As the boss, you will generate alarm tokens if people are spotted, if bodies are discovered, and you can either accumulate them and let the alarm level go up, which makes your guards faster and makes them cheaper to summon, and all sorts of different things change in the base. Or you can spend the alarm tokens to bring more minions in. There's a lot of cool stuff like that. It's not like as the boss you have no choices to make. But at the same time, it can feel like you have uneven pacing through the game. Like sometimes your base will almost be completely devoid of minions, and you can either summon some more, or you can just run up the alarm and let that trigger some more. It's an uneven experience. You have to take it as a big picture, not turn by turn. There's been times when I felt like I'm not going to win because my base is basically empty and the spies have just got the run of the place. But then when the alarm level goes up and everything accelerates slightly and the spies have been careless and not got rid of the bodies and I start to discover them, the alarm goes up even more. It has this it swings back in your favour. I think it's a game where repeated play will certainly help find the right balance for both sides. Whereas one-off plays, you might find it seems to heavily vary from one end to the other as it tips the balance in the favour of each side. Components-wise, it's nicely produced. The board is nicely finished. The artwork is very, very nice and very clear. I was extremely happy by the little touches. The doorways, outside the doorway, the square is lit up. So if you're a sentry, if you put a guard there and they're a sentry, that sentry space is illuminated. You can identify the different types of minions in the boss at a glance. The hero characters, well, the spy characters, they're not the heroes, come on, have a green base, which means you can identify them at a glance. Everything is cardboard standees, not miniatures. You can buy miniatures if you want, but the game functions perfectly without them, and miniatures would have just bumped up the price for not really any huge gain. The artwork itself on the board, the characters are nice, but the board art, it has a slightly cheap look, I have to say, in places. There's kind of repeated gradient fills, and I don't know, it's funny. It looks kind of, like I say, a little bit amateurish in a way, but at the same time, it's extremely functional. Um, it doesn't look bad, and you don't notice it while you're playing. It's not like the artwork's a distraction, and everything does work well. It it's a very easy to read board, which I very much do appreciate. It's perhaps it just seems to lack a little polish, but like I say, when you're playing it, you kind of don't really care. The player sheets are incredibly thin, which I don't understand because the rest of the components are fine. Um, that is a little bit weird. And the game really could do with a reference guide. Thankfully, Warm Acre were nice enough to provide me with a couple of printouts, and there is a PDF you can print for free online, which gives you a reference guide, because there are a lot of things you can do in this game. There's a lot of stuff to remember. It's not like it's an unnecessarily complex game, because everything's in it for a reason. But I think the first couple of games, you may well find yourself forgetting something or missing something. Once it's all up here, it's quite a comprehensive game as to what you can do in a turn and how you can do it. So, trying to tie this up a bit, I think personally the game shines with at least two agents in play. One agent versus the base didn't seem to balance to make a fun game. Two agents does. Three agents works fine, and a full complement, four players, was good, although perhaps maybe ran a bit long. That could just be our limited experience learning the game. I think it makes an excellent two-player, and I think as a three-player it's fine. Four, I think, would be one I'd have to be a little more convinced of, to be honest, just simply through game length. It can run pretty long, at least to begin with. Again, I think repeated play would bring the time down and really make this game come alive. It's definitely one you're going to have to invest a bit of yourself into to get the most out of. But for a game that at first blush does look like an Ameritrash roll dice and stuff happens game, it kind of isn't. It surprised me. It's definitely something that could give a lot of recent miniatures heavy roll dice and do stuff games a run for its money, and it is a game I think that's going to be perhaps overlooked a bit and underappreciated for what it achieves. It's definitely a very polished design. It's had 10 years of hard work, and it shows. The game feels like it's got no loose threads and faff. It's definitely a very, very well realised design and has clearly had a lot of love put into it. I do wonder if the boss could be automated somehow to make it a fully co-op game. Although, with the amount of decisions available, I wonder how you could do that and make it challenging, really. It's probably possible, but it'd be difficult because these aren't just mindless drones who just tromp towards you. There are times when you actually want to send your guards away from the spies, and there are times as the spies where you want to get captured so you can get brought further into the base. I'd like that, but I'm not sure how practical it is. I do think that the main thing with this game is consistent gameplay, and again, that's to do with replays. In terms of replayability, there are different skills to try, the agents are all different. Like I said, there's a couple of nice little expansions on the way. Well, they're available, you can print them as PDFs. All in all, I'm very impressed. I love the fact that it does stealth in an interesting and different way and not just another Scotland Yard clone, it certainly manages to capture tense moments. You really do feel like you're sneaking around, and then when all hell breaks loose and you just start taking pot shots with the pistol and legging it about trying not to get machine gunned, that's pretty great. I do think it could do with just perhaps a little more flavour and a little more in the way of nefarious deeds and evil kind of surprises you can spring as the boss. That does seem to be lacking a little bit in character. But all in all, extremely solid, very good gameplay. But one perhaps you're going to have to put a little bit of effort into to really get the full effect out of. So that's Spy or Die Trying by Warm Acre Games. Once again, thank you very much, guys, for sending me this review copy. It's been a really good experience engaging with it and getting interesting stuff out of it, rather than just what seems to be the prevalent kind of run and gun that most American-style games are giving us. If you're a fan of something like Metal Gear Solid, or if you fancy something that's genuinely quite different, then I would definitely give this a go. And I think also this is proof to me that it's not about the plastic bits, it's not about a license, it's not about $1 million on Kickstarter. This game is solidly well made, and made from people who really, really actually believe in it and want it to be the best it can be. And just for that, I think it's well worth a go. So, Spy or Die Trying. I died trying, but don't let that stop you. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Cheers, take care, and I'm having a beer.